The scream tore through the twilight like a knife through silk, high-pitched and desperate, ricocheting off the manicured lawns of Willow Creek Lane. "Help! He's going to kill me. Stop it." The words weren't just loud, they were raw, laced with terror, the kind that makes your blood freeze and your feet move before your brain catches up. Within minutes, the cul-de-sac was a circus of flashing lights. 2 animal control vans, a sheriff's cruiser, and a gaggle of HOA board members clutching their clipboards like shields. Neighbors peeked through blinds, phones already recording as the chaos unfolded on my front lawn. But this wasn't a crime scene, not a domestic dispute, not even a prank gone wrong. It was a 5-pound parrot named Jasper, perched smugly in his cage by my Lee VY room window, who just mimicked a scream so convincing it could have fooled a 911 operator. And when the deputy, hand twitching near his holster, demanded to know who was in distress, Jasper tilted his head, fluffed his emerald feathers, and chirped in a pitch-perfect imitation of HOA President Evelyn Harper's voice, "I run this street, you peasant." That was the moment I knew Jasper wasn't just a pev, was a walking, squawking landmine. Jasper came into my life like a stray bullet, unexpected and impossible to ignore. 2 years ago, I'd been volunteering at a rundown roadside zoo, a place so grim it made a landfill look like a spa. I was a part-time vet tech back then, scraping by between shifts when I found him in a filthy cage, served VYing on stale popcorn and flat soda. His feathers were dull, his eyes half-closed, but even then, he had a spark of low, defiant whistle that said he wasn't done fighting. I couldn't leave him there. After a month of proper food, sunlight, and a perch that didn't wobble, Jasper was a different bird. VY Brandt, loud, and terrifyingly smart. He'd mimic my alarm clock, the neighbor's dog, even the squeak of my fridge door with eerie precision. I thought I'd hit the jackpota, feathered comedian who'd keep me entertained through long nights. What I didn't realize was that his cage sat 6 feet from a window, facing Evelyn Harper's porch, and Evelyn's voice wasn't just loud, it was a sonic weapon. Evelyn was the queen of Willow Creek Lane, or so she thought. 6 years as HOA president had turned her into a suburban dictator, her blonde bob and pearl earrings a warning flag to anyone who dared park an extra car overnight. She'd scream at delivery drivers, berate landscapers, even chase kids off her lawn with a rolled-up copy of the HOA bylaws. Her voice, sharp enough to shatter glass, carried across the street like a foghorn, and Jasper, with his sponge-like brain, soaked it all up. At first, it was harmless. He'd mutter, "That's a violation," when I spilled coffee or chirp, "Get off my grass," if I walked too close to his cage. I laughed. My neighbors laughed. We'd gather in my Lee VYing room, passing around beers, betting on what he'd say next. But Jasper wasn't just parroting phrase, she was remixing them, stitching together Evelyn's rants like a DJ spinning tracks. By month 3, he could recite an entire HOA meeting, complete with her passive-aggressive motion denied and a nasal "this community's falling apart" that sent my cat, Muffin, scurrying under the couch. The trouble started small, like most disasters do. A neighbor, Tom, overheard Jasper screech, "Don't touch me, you creep," in Evelyn's voice while walking his dog past my house. Tom, a retired firefighter with a hero complex, thought someone was being attacked. He called the sheriff, and 10 minutes later, I was staring down a deputy who looked ready to kick my door in. "Anyone hurt in there?" he asked, one hand on his radio. Before I could answer, Jasper flapped his wings and crowed, "I'm untouchable, you hear me?" The deputy blinked. The animal control guy behind him snorted. I pointed to the cage, explained Jasper's talent, even played a VY Deo of him mimicking my neighbor's lawnmower. The deputy relaxed, chuckling, but Tom wasn't laughing. He'd already texted the neighborhood group chat, and by nightfall, Evelyn was at my door, her face redder than her Lexus. "This is harassment," she spat, jabbing a manicured nail toward Jasper's cage. "That bird is mocking me deliberately." Jasper, ever the showman, tilted his head and cooed, "Nice lipstick, Evelyn. Did you steal it?" The gasp she let out could have powered a wind turbine. I bit my lip to keep from laughing, but the damage was done. Evelyn stormed off, vowing to end this nonsense. I thought she was bluffing until the HOA newsletter arrived the next morning, a 600-word manifesto calling Jasper a vocal menace and me a reckless pet owner endangering community peace. She proposed an emergency meeting to draft a noise ordinance, one suspiciously tailored to birds weighing over 4 pounds with mimicry capabilities. I rolled my eyes, figuring no one would take it seriously. I was wrong. Evelyn wasn't just loud, she was relentless. She'd built an empire of fear in Willow Creek, her influence woven into every mailbox complaint and landscaped hedge. Within days, she'd rallied her loyalists, a retired accountant named Phil, a yoga mom named Cheryl, and a guy named Greg who'd do anything for a patio permit. They formed a community safety committee to monitor the Parrot situation, which meant Evelyn had an excuse to snoop around my yard. Meanwhile, Jasper was getting bolder. He'd started mimicking Evelyn's phone calls, ones I hadn't even realized he could hear. One morning, as I sipped coffee, he squawked, "Tell Linda to shred the receipts." No one checks. I froze, the mug halfway to my lips. Linda was Evelyn's sister, a part-time HOA treasurer. Jasper kept going, "If they audit, blame the old board." Easy. I checked my security camera's audio feed and realized the sound from Evelyn's porch, her shouting in her phone funneled straight through my open window. Jasper wasn't just a mimic. He was a feathered wiretap. I tried to warn Evelyn, not out of kindness, but self-preservation. "Maybe keep your voice down," I said one afternoon, catching her on her porch. "Jasper's picking up everything." Her eyes narrowed to slits. "You trained him to spy on me," she hissed. "This is a setup." Before I could argue, she spun around, slamming her door so hard the wreath fell off. That night, she filed a complaint with animal control, claiming Jasper was a public disturbance and should be seized. She even called the city, citing a non-existent exotic animal ordinance. I countered with paperwork pro-VYing Jasper was part of my licensed rescue operation, but Evelyn wasn't playing by rules, she was playing dirty. The tipping point came one muggy evening when I found my side gate ajar. My motion sensor camera had caught a figurehead, quick slipping near Jasper's window. The next morning, he started parroting something new. "Just get the bird quiet. We'll say he's trained to lie." It was Evelyn's voice, unmistakable, and it wasn't from her porch. My stomach dropped. I tore through the house, checking every corner, and found it under Jasper's perch. A tiny wireless mic, no bigger than a quarter, taped beneath a pile of shredded newspaper. She'd bugged my home. I yanked it out, drove straight to the sheriff's office, and filed a report. The officer shrugged. "CIVYL matter unless you've got her on VY Deo planting it." I didn't, but I had Jasper, and he was louder than any camera. The neighborhood was starting to crack. People who'd once ducked Evelyn's wrath were whispering back. My neighbor Sarah, a librarian with a knack for research, dug up old HOA budgets and found discrepancies, thousands in landscaping fees paid to a company owned by Evelyn's cousin. Another neighbor, Mike, admitted Evelyn had fined him due law 200 for a non-compliant mailbox that was identical to hers. Jasper's accidental leaks were turning him into a folk hero. Kids drew parrots on sidewalks in chalk. Someone hung a banner on their garage, "Jasper for President." But Evelyn wasn't done. She called a secret HOA meeting, in VYT only, in the community clubhouse's back room. I wasn't in VY TED, but Sarah smuggled me a recording. Evelyn stood at a podium, voice trembling with rage, and declared, "This parrot is a weapon of defamation. We must act." She unveiled a new rule, the Vocal Nuisance Act, banning animals that replicate human speech within earshot of property lines. It was absurd, laser-focused on Jasper, but her allies nodded like it was gospel. I wasn't going to let her win. I showed up to the next public meeting, Jasper on my shoulder, registered as a therapy animal under a loophole Evelyn herself had written years ago. She tried to block me at the door, but I quoted her own bylaws back to her. "Fine," she snarled, "but keep him quiet." Jasper, of course, had other plans. As Evelyn droned on about community standards, he cut in, mimicking her perfectly, "I'll bury the budget mess. No one reads it." The room went silent. A board member coughed. Evelyn's pen snapped in her hand. Before she could recover, Jasper added, "Call Tony. He'll fudge the numbers." Tony was her brother-in-law, a contractor with a shady reputation. The crowd erupted, some laughing, others shouting questions. Evelyn pounded her gavel, screaming for order, but it was too late. The meeting collapsed into chaos, and Jasper, flapping gleefully, squawked, "Motion denied, losers." By morning, the VY was everywhere. Local news ran it with the headline, "Parrot exposes HOA secrets." TikTok turned Jasper into a meme, his voice dubbed over courtroom dramas and reality TV. But Evelyn didn't fold, she escalated. She filed a lawsuit against me, claiming emotional distress and defamation by Parrot. My lawyer, a guy who'd seen it all, couldn't stop laughing. "She's suing a bird," he wheezed. "This is a first." Still, I wasn't naive. Evelyn's desperation made her dangerous. Late one night, my cameras caught her again, this time in my backyard, prying at Jasper's VY Erie lock. I'd installed a new system after the mic incident, a motion-triggered speaker that blasted Jasper's voice. "Evelyn, you're trespassing. Smile for the cops." She yelped, tripped over a hose, and bolted, Leah VYing a glove behind. I called the sheriff, and they picked her up at 2 a.m., still in her black hoodie. "That bird's framing me," she screamed as they cuffed her for attempted theft. The arrest was the final straw. The neighborhood rallied. At an impromptu block party, people wore shirts with Jasper's face and sipped Parrot punch. Sarah handed me a USB drive with years of HOA records she'd pried from the city, proof of Evelyn's fraud, from fake invoices to rigged votes. I passed it to a state investigator, a no-nonsense woman who'd been watching Evelyn's moves. "Your bird's a better witness than most humans," she said, flipping through the files. The investigation exploded from there. Evelyn was indicted for fraud, embezzlement, and forgery. Her cousin and Tony went down with her. The HOA board dissolved, replaced by a new crew led by Sarah, who pushed for open budgets and term limits. The city even passed a Jasper rule, mandating public access to HOA records. Evelyn vanished after the charges hit. Her house sold quietly to a couple who brought Jasper mango slices as a housewarming gift. The cul-de-sac settled into a new rhythm: no fines, no screaming, just neighbors who waved instead of whispered. Jasper still performed, mimicking my laugh or the mailman's whistle, but his Evelyn impression faded, like a song he no longer needed to sing. One evening, as the sun dipped low, painting the street in amber, I sat on my porch with a beer. Jasper hopped to the railing, preened his feathers, and murmured, "Peace at last, huh?" I smiled, scratching his head. "Yeah, buddy, you earned it. But peace is a fragile thing." A week later, the new neighbors found something in Evelyn's old Sheeta, a locked box labeled HOA, confidential. Inside were ledgers, emails, and a handwritten note in Evelyn's scrawl. "If this leaks, we're all done." Jasper, perched nearby, tilted his head and whispered, "Secrets never stay buried." I didn't know what it meant yet, but I knew one thing. Jasper was still listening, and the cul-de-sac wasn't done with surprises. If you were the one in this story, how would you react? Would you stand up and fight back, or accept the unreasonable pressure and control from the HOA? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this VY with more people. Your small action gives us the motivation to keep bringing you more intense and engaging stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next VY.